Yep, we are rolling for yet another fragrance review. So again, kind of flip flop between OG original fragrances from either yesteryear or slightly newer EDT EDPs, and then I go through phases of reviewing clones and or Middle Eastern takes on popular fragrances and or discontinued. So with this one, it was a blind buy based purely on reviews online. For some people just seeing this bottle, they'll know straight away what it is. It is Liquid Brun Brun by French Avenue. Now, I ordered a load of samples more recently off of a different company. I normally use fragrancesamples.co.uk. Now I use a different one. And the reason why I use a different one is because they had lots of decants or clone samples, which is appreciated because, again, I don't have all the money in the world to be spending £100 plus on a bottle of a fragrance that I like, and especially when it's something either quite expensive, which is this is a clone of. This is believed to be a clone or a take on Parfums De Marley Althair. Obviously, I've not got to sample that, but there are Parfums De Marley Leighton and Leighton exclusive that I've sampled before, and then I ended up purchasing clones of them, and they're considered very good by Al Haramain. So this is a different house, and this is a different fragrance. But go over the notes, do the usual, put onto the skin, and then do the how I perceive it and the review. So I've had this probably about 2 months now. What I tend to do is I don't just do a spray onto a card or on my wrist or whatever and then go, oh, that's lovely, and then rate it. I actually make little notes of performance, longevity, the scent profile, and I go back to that. So obviously, if I've had this for 2 months, I've wore it several times in the UK. The heat wave that we've had for months is slowly going away. It's getting colder, it's getting darker earlier. And just to kind of preempt this is a fragrance that's based more around night wear, going out, cooler weather, more than a summery fragrance. I don't always like to say that and state that, because again, it can be a blanket statement for some. This is a citrus, it can only be worn in the summer. This has wood in it and is dark, it can only be worn in the winter, and you get what I'm trying to say. So the note breakdown is as follows. The top notes are made up of cinnamon, orange blossom, cardamom and bergamot. The middle, bourbon, vanilla and elemi. Never, from my understanding, never had a fragrance or sample one with elemi in it, so there's that. Base is made up of praline and broxin, guaiac wood and musk. So how to describe it? It comes across as sort of a classy sweetness at the top, and then it kind of dries down as you expect, woody, smoky with the guaiac wood. And again, I'm getting more experience with being able to decipher ingredients because, again, I've been reviewing for over a year now on the channel, but obviously for several years before that, there's so many hundreds of fragrances that I've owned bottles of. So I've always had a passion for it. And again, this video is just to kind of put out there my opinion, unbiased one, and to try and help people decide if this is for them or not. So as I said, this was a blind buy, but I had sampled it and it was that good that I ordered a bottle. So that tells you all you need to know, because it's very rare that I sample something, although there is one that I'll mention at some point where it's in a sample video. Actually, 2 new fragrances that have just come out that really surprised me. I just think, oh, name drop them now. I'm going to put an upload of them, but it was actually a Hugo Boss bottled Beyond. I thought that was excellent and it performed well on my skin. And the new Victor Rolf Metallic Musk, that was another one that, after a line of indifferent ones with Victor and Rolf, again, I won't go off on a tangent, but just as it's in my memory bank, I thought I'd mention it. The dark leather was pretty crap. The night vision was whatever. And I think there was a red one as well that was okay, but nothing that couldn't hold a torch to the original Victor Rolf and or the bottle that I have, the extreme version. So the metallic musk was very good. I just thought I'd put that out there. So this is an EDP, usual 3 sprays. onto the skin. With EDTs, I tend to put a little bit more on, purely based on the fact that it gives a more accurate reading, because EDTs are very radiant to begin with, and then they sort of fade off into nothingness. So this is very strong. I'm not going to say beast mode or anything, because again, that's hard to quantify. Sometimes people think the top notes make something beast mode, and then within an hour or two, say Acqua di Gio, Profondo, or most of the Acqua di Gios, they just completely go flat, barely a skin scent. Where with this one, again, how I described it earlier, sort of a classy, boozy, going out, date night, clubbing vibe. To my nose, again, there's certain notes in here, the cardamom, the cinnamon, the bergamot, the orange blossom, that gives a kind of sweet fruitiness, but not overly stated, so it's perfectly balanced in my opinion. Obviously, the bourbon vanilla, it's like a win-win combination there. You know, if you like, but if you like whiskey, if you like rum, if you Courvoisier brandies, stuff like that, that strong sort of a cold, I always associate with going out clubbing when I'm younger, especially out every weekend. Bit different as you get older, but you can still appreciate those sort of smells or accords. And the praline, when it dries down, keeps a bit of the sweet edge, almost like a chocolatey dessert kind of gourmand. But then you've got the smoke and the guyat wood coming through, and it's just very pleasant. It's really well done. It's a combination that most people might not agree with, but again, it's unanimously rated well online, and I can imagine the Parfums De Marley Althair, which is probably a few £100, most of them are, is, you know, I don't want to say a superior version than this, but from the amount of positive reviews for this liquid Brun by French Avenue, a new house to me, I tend to just buy Lattafa, Al Haramain, a few others, Afnan, and Armaf. I was very surprised. So in terms of performance and radiance, at least 8 hours on the skin. Radiance is pretty good. I'd say on average, most EDPs and most fragrances I review, I would say projection and sillage is average at best. I find that the projection with this is above average, and the sillage is actually very good. So they're being quite different things. Again, projection you don't always want so loud and so in your face. You either go nose blind to it, or it just pisses people off around you. I learned that the hard way when I was younger, firing on Armani's and even Chanel's, not really understanding how you should be applying fragrance. But again, time and place. So time and place, as I said, going out, clubbing, date night, meals, that sort of thing. Can be worn daytime, but I'd say where it's quite strong and potent, it would be probably too much for a gym, too much for an office environment or work environment. I think it's a bit too loud for that, but for what it does very well. So again, performance 6 to 8 hours, which is again is sort of like the average for an EDP, maybe slightly longer, maybe pushing 9 or 10 on the skin. That's one big positive of this. The price range is very good as well. It's like £20 to £30 off of eBay, Amazon, wherever, or more niche fragrance websites, just looking online for a basic or average rather price. And yeah, the smell profile is excellent. I can't really fault it at all. I give it like an 8.5 out of 10. You get, as I say, the sweet fruitiness off the top that then eventually goes to more of like a sweetness element in the background, but then you get it smoked out, sort of clubbing, going out sort of vibe even more so. So again, really excellent fragrance. Again, it might not be to everyone's taste. I will say that there's elements of that in this which almost make it like a lipsticky unisex fragrance. And again, I was curious because I do my research. There was some reviews of people saying they find it a bit more feminine leading. I understand where they're coming from with that, but I think again, as you get more experience with fragrances, you kind of want something a bit different. You don't always just want citrus heavy or really dark, really smoky all the time. So in my opinion, this is quite different. It's definitely niche, but it fits that bill of going out. It offers something a bit different. I don't think everybody's going to be wearing this either, especially the original Parfums De Marley Althair, which is £700. So you'll smell different with this. And again, I think that, you know, when you're going on a fragrance journey, or however you want to word it, where you've smelt so many fragrances over the years, in my case, I do appreciate something a bit different. So I went there, highly recommended. Liquid Brun by French Avenue, 8.5 out of 10. Nothing more I can really say. Ticks all the boxes, in my opinion. Think worth sampling, definitely worth sampling, because it's different to what a lot of people I think would smell. I would recommend against blind buying it. Luckily, I sampled it before buying it, but I'm glad that I did, because again, it's very different to what I currently own and what I've smelt in a long time. So yeah, end it there. Again, Liquid Brun by French Avenue, 8.5 out of 10, and we'll end it there till next time.